So I played Bradley in, so it was me and Harry, we played him sort of at the most. Everyone played him at some point. So Harry played him when he was in the army, and then I played him when he was in solitary at the start and at the very end, and also when he was in school.
Hey, fun! Thanks! Thank you!
So the first thing to do is like to find like an authentic version of how he speaks, how he sounds, how he walks, how he held himself. And because we had nothing to sort of copy, we didn't want to make it a caricature. And also like there were girls playing him.
Louder!
Sergeant, I'm the runt sergeant!
What?
Kyle plays him, who's 6'3", much bigger than me, and me and Harry are different sizes. Sean, Mike, we're all different builds. We're different, we're different actors even. So it was to find a voice which was not an impression of him, but is like an honest version of the character, so we can tell the story.
The world is not moving fast enough for us at home, in work, or on the battlefield.
It's don't ask, don't tell, the worst part about being in the military.
Oh, totally, yeah. My job is about life and death. You'd think the army would value personal integrity.
You've got to sort of take it from the text, I suppose, and like you sort of think like, what are the other characters saying about him? What are they saying to him? We obviously knew that he wasn't like a hugely confident person. In our version of it, he was bullied in school, so you sort of have to take from that he sort of wasn't walking around with his chest out. It's a status thing as well, so you're not playing like a high status character.
There, 1 o'clock. We haven't seen anything since then. Just fucking, once you get on the boat,
The first time we see him, he's naked in solitary confinement on a table, and so that obviously is going to sort of affect the way you hold yourself. He goes from that, and then we see him get dressed in front of the audience, which is quite which is demeaning now. Like it was demeaning for me to have to do that in front of like 200-300 people. So I can only imagine what it was like for him to do that in solitary confinement in front of soldiers. I think the first thing he says, "Am I in the right period?" And obviously the class are reps like to period to 14-year-old, 15-year-old Welsh kids means a different thing. And they laugh and stuff, and we see his head sort of bowed and stuff. There's a scene where Kyle plays the drill sergeant and Bradley struggles. In that scene, he's the worst at getting his kit together. He the worst at standing to attention. Instantly he's a target. In the army he's a target because he's small. He wasn't masculine. He doesn't have a big deep voice. He wasn't aggressive. The time we see him, his physicality change the most is when he's with Tyler, because he was in love and he was relaxed and he felt comfortable.
If you had my upbringing, you work on your exit strategies. How about you?
Brandeis, neuroscience major. I'm also a classical musician.
As actors, you've got to agree on a version. Obviously we can't all sound like each other, and you can't all sound like each other because you're different people, you're different human beings, you've got different voices, but it's having like an essence of someone. And we did a thing called flocking in rehearsals, like over and over again with John, because we all play different characters and the play doesn't stop. There's no sort of scene change. The play runs through and through, and we move the furniture. So we did this thing where we did flocking, where we sort of moved together like birds just around the rehearsal room over and over again. We'd have to watch each other, and so we'd have to mimic each other so that we could agree on a certain way of moving, a way of holding ourselves. Because if you're all playing different versions of him, then it's not going to be as exciting to watch as... And it's the tiny little nuances that are important, I suppose. Technically, there were no scene changes, so we moved the furniture ourselves. That's the way Tim wanted it. He wanted it to go straight through. And so just like as an actor, you've got to be aware of your energy levels. There's no break really. Tiny breaks where you stood side of stage by the lockers where we had our costumes. But you've just got to be aware that when you're speaking that there are people behind you, people to the side of you. So you've just got to be aware of your voice. The scenes are intense. And there are scenes where I, as an actor, was screaming. So when you're doing 2 shows a day, you've got to be careful. You've got to check where your voice is. You've got to make sure you're drinking lots of water. Otherwise, my voice did go at one point. Literally because of the intensity of the piece, you don't get a break. You're not off in the dressing room listening to the radio or on your phone. But I think that's the amazing thing about this. Like, there's 6 of us and you're like a little team, and everyone's looking after each other. We help each other get dressed, we undress each other, we put our clothes on, we move each other into scenes and stuff. And that's a really amazing thing. You're not just on your own doing your bit. It's like it's absolutely like an ensemble piece. It's like being part of a football team. As soon as that energy drops, we sort of stop believing. We've got to make the audience believe that we are in Solitary, or that we are in Tasker Millwood, and to snap back and forth like that, it takes a level of intensity and focus, and that only happens if you're listening to each other and paying attention to each other, being generous. You've got to be really generous as actors.